I can't tell you the story of my voice without telling you the story of my silence. Valentine's Day 2011. I'm still married to my ex-husband. We live in a half-burnt barn pushed deep in upstate New York, surrounded by banks of snow, so remote that we don't have cell reception. We don't have indoor plumbing either, although this detail isn't foreign in our marriage. Prior to the barn, we lived in a car, and before the car, a sailboat. The entire duration of our marriage, we never once lived on solid ground. The evening is freezing, characteristic of the 8-month-long winters in New York. At nearly midnight, he picks me up from the train station. To supplement my income as an actress, I am a part-time live-in nanny for an affluent family in Manhattan. For Valentine's Day, I baked 2 heart-shaped cakes, one for the family and one for my husband. I bought the heart-shaped pans specifically for the occasion. In the car, Bob Marley's No Woman, No Cry is playing. My husband starts singing. His voice is gorgeous. It is pure sex, a perfect cocktail of grit, gravel, and molasses. In contrast, my voice, according to my husband, sounds like a Disney princess. Bland, sterile, lacking anything substantial. So, although I love to sing, I make sure not to. I'm just happy listening to him and looking at him. 5'11", 6 feet tall, when wearing shoes, he'd like me to tell you, with blue eyes that are sometimes green, brown hair with natural streaks of gold. It's like staring into the almighty sun. His beauty is blinding. I love looking at him, and he loves the way I love him. The song comes to an end, and as if on cue, he launches into another favorite habit, regaling me with stories of other women. In this last year, he's developed a penchant for flirting with women at the restaurant where he bartends. He collects their names on receipts that he brings home by the handful. He has started petitioning for girlfriends, sister wives he calls them, his reasoning being that having one will alleviate the pressure on me to be perfect for him. So he tells me about these other women that he's met tonight, while I just sit here, watching, listening, feeling so small, feeling choiceless, feeling voiceless, feeling as though I have been here before. And I repeat in my mind, he loves me, he loves me, he loves me. He's just a mystery I have to solve. And for the millionth time, I wonder if he's actually seeing other women, just telling me he is, or threatening that he will. Perhaps their phantom presence is the intended heartbreak. And the real cruelty is whenever I haunt myself with these thoughts, thousands of other voices flood my head. Sister after sister after sister, all of us chasing the same riddle, wondering how we can make our men happy. Suddenly, on the radio, Bonnie Tyler's I Need a Hero starts playing, and with the opening line, "Where have all the good men gone?" and the irony is so steep, I don't know whether to laugh or to cry, so I just sit, continuing to listen, continuing to watch, saying nothing. We arrive at the barn. He bought the dilapidated structure about a year ago with the firm resolve of turning it into a family home. Progress happens in jolts and spurts. In place of wooden steps leading into the barn, we have a wooden plank. In place of glass covering the window frames, we have plastic sheets. The wintry air blows through the sheets, billowing them like wings. We walk from the car over the plank and into the barn. The air inside smells like something is dying, love, perhaps. The short walk from the car into the barn has set my head spinning because thanks to anorexia, the shadow I've battled for over a decade, I've eaten only an apple and a handful of nuts all day. Pushed in the deep corner of the barn is our trusty queen-size mattress. Surrounding the mattress are space heaters and piles of bricks. Here and there, strung from the rafters, are naked light bulbs. I've memorized how to walk around them with my eyes closed because the burning glass promises to singe the skin if touched. Although usually I'm too cold, hungry, or tired to connect a full thought, occasionally it strikes me that it's as though I've encircled myself with danger and filled myself with emptiness, as if I'm punishing myself for something. We crank up the space heaters and I change out of my boots, jeans, and sweater and into a tiny pink and white satin and lace nightgown from Victoria's Secret because I am a good wife. I arrange his other Valentine's presents on the covers, 2 children's books that I've bought for him to read to our future kids one day, as well as an ice cream maker because ice cream is his favorite food. He sprawls over the covers, continuing to talk about these other women, while I just stand here, holding his cake, holding a heart in my hands. He takes it and starts eating chunks using his fingers, while I continue standing, watching, listening, head spinning, freezing, feeling the choicelessness of my voicelessness, wondering how has my life arrived to this moment? How have I become a woman capable of filling herself with emptiness and circling herself with danger? If I am capable of doing this, if I am so stupid and reckless as to make this happen, perhaps I don't deserve anything better. And suddenly it all connects. I became this woman because once upon a time I swallowed my voice. I became this woman because as a girl, born in Bangladesh and raised in Thailand, I learned very young that there is nothing quite as tedious as a woman who speaks her mind. I became this woman because, like so many girls, I grew up revering and fearing my father. And instead of speaking of that dissonance and healing that dissonance, I carried that dissonance and I built an entire marriage from that disharmony. I became this woman because when I was 11 and a cousin tried to molest me, I was told boys will be boys and left to fend for myself. And I took that as reason to start believing I mattered very little to the world. I became this woman because when I was 20, I was disowned and then reowned for speaking too assertively, and I took that experience as feedback to become a more palatable sort of girl. A girl who is polite, poised, and demure. A woman who will forever defer to the superior wisdom, guidance, advice, and leadership of men. A woman who will love, rationalize, accept, forgive, compromise, give to the point of disappearance. I became this woman because when I was 23 and I was raped, I decided not to share that story with anyone, fearing that sharing that story would bring shame and pain to my family. I began speaking less and less until suddenly the only words I ever spoke were the ones assigned to me as an actress and as the kind of woman I feel the world prefers me to be. It is all connected. Speaking is integral to having authority in one's life. And without speaking, we can't truly occupy our present, let alone rise to our fullest height. Speaking is the first step to healing, and without healing, those wounds will metastasize as some form of self-harm. Self-harm in the form of anorexia, self-harm in the form of a half-burned barn, naked light bulbs, a partner devoted to hurting me. It is all connected. It's as though from the time we were young girls, The world starts attacking us for being born female. We absorb this poison and reenact the pain over and over, all the while quiet, all the while living by extension and reaction to the world and people around us. Forever someone's daughter, someone's wife, someone's girlfriend, someone's prey, someone's doll, someone's landscape to plow. Never existing as ourselves. And as Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. I look at my husband and I realize, finally, that this isn't the result of my recklessness and stupidity after all. Because one of the most painful things about becoming silent is that as you feel your heart break, wound after wound, event after event, you start to believe that you are completely alone in your wreckage and entirely to blame for it. That while everyone else is succeeding in life and love, you have utterly failed. I look at my husband and I realize finally that he is not my duty. He is not my purpose. He is not my responsibility, and he is not my failure. And as I look, his face begins to shimmer like a mirage as faces of the men before him start appearing, one by one. Ex-boyfriends who repeatedly ignored my value, squandered my love, while I let them, time and time again, ultimately betraying myself. The cruelest betrayal is the one we commit against ourselves. Because here's the thing. I am the author of my life. I design my choices, meaning that if I am culpable of disempowering decisions, then I have equal ability to conspire in my empowerment. I look at my husband, and then a final face appears. The face of the woman I could be, should I make new choices. No. The word feels, sounds, and tastes like a small hard pebble perched on my tongue, begging to be spat out. What? He says. No, thank you. No what? He frowns. No, this. I am bigger than this. My story is bigger than you. He laughs. He laughs, and then seeing that his reaction to me no longer affects me, he grows furious. He fumes, he paces, he yells. I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I get into bed, I fall asleep, marveling at this new feeling inside of me, marveling that gone are the days when I will campaign for his love, for anyone's love, by murdering my voice. To speak is a revolution, an act of love. It takes a few months, but finally we part ways. I leave him, I leave behind the coffin that was our home, and I realize that to truly step into my power, I need to leave behind the woman I had become and the life attached to her. I sought out a new life. I became a writer and a speaker. I write and speak about pain and our path to healing and rising. I write and speak about anorexia and the roadmap to recovery. I write and speak about the many ways that our hearts can be broken, because I've realized it is only by understanding our heartbreak that we can understand how to truly love ourselves and each other. I write and speak precisely about the stories that I kept hidden for decades, because it is only by studying our past and scrutinizing our present that we can midwife humankind towards evolution. And so I have found my true purpose. And it doesn't live in extension or reaction to someone else, My true purpose is to use my voice to ignite the voices of others, to bring them to life, torches in the deep, inky, quiet stillness of night, to bring to light the stories we have kept silent for generations. Wherever you may be in your journey, whether you once upon a time or perhaps right now have hid your voice in a tiny casket of pain, tucked deep behind your lungs, so that every time you try to breathe, it pushes against your heart, your truth matters as ardently as the sun. When we own the power of our voices, when we claim our narratives from the hands of others, what we are saying is, I am the sole author of my life. I will speak because the time is up, the time is now, and it is time that the world listens. I will speak, for although I will encounter fear, hatred, and fury, the reward is freedom, and freedom is contagious. Toni Morrison said that the function of freedom is to free someone else, meaning that if you've managed to wrestle free from a nightmarish situation or environment or person or lifestyle or mindset or addiction or shadow, tell that story. Telling that story will free someone else from their nightmare. I will speak because I am a freedom worker. I am my own hero because I am a woman. In my blood pulses the anthem bestowed upon me by my mother and hers. In my womb glows the power to birth change. And I dare the world to show me a science more bold, more audacious, more intelligent than that. Hand me wound and watch as I morph into wisdom. Give me pain and I will turn it into poetry. Hand me fury and I will turn it into function. Give me an obstacle and I will leverage it as opportunity, because I know that every adversity is the anniversary of my next new talent. I will speak because this is so much bigger than me. I stand as one, but I exist as thousands. I will not remain quiet in the name of family. I will speak in the name of family so that one day my daughters and granddaughters and great-granddaughters will not have to weep over the same wounds that made my mother and I cry. I will speak because whenever I do, another woman hears that her story matters, that she too holds within her a mighty wellspring of resilience, that she too deserves love, kindness, dignity, and respect, that she too, you too, me too, we are all vital voices in our collective connective roar. To speak is a revolution, an act of love. Change, like humankind, will be birthed by us. We have come to realize that progress is ours to architect. In this fractured world, it is the wisdom that we have gained through our wounds that will in turn repair the brokenness of this planet. We are therefore setting our voices free. We have claimed our narratives from the hands of others. Your story links to her story, links to their story, links to mine, forming a chain to embrace and mend the splintered earth. We are rejecting our silence, a punishing inheritance we never asked for. And with that, we claim our independence. This is the story of my voice. Tell me yours.